Alright, viewers, welcome back to Let's Play Europa Universalis 3 with me, Flying MacGuffin. We've got, quite a bit to go over. Last session we got our relations up a bit with France. We got a royal marriage, although they're still, being jerks to us, because that's how they roll. And they're still embargoing us. One of the things people have been telling me to do, and they're absolutely right, is that I should move my national focus. Because where it is in here is convenient for, clicking back and forth. But other than that, it's not really helping me being where it is. And now it did give me land reforms in these places, but other than that, it's not really doing anything. So, yeah, it's not even getting rid of the distant overseas modifier. So, yeah, that's not really giving me anything good. So from the point of view of this, and from the point of view that I might eventually lose these provinces to France, I don't want to build them up all that much past where they are right now. So I'm going to move my national focus. Now we can only do this every once in a while. I forget what the actual limit is, but we can only have it in one place at once, and we can't move it all the time. So the logical place to put it is put it back into Alexandria to build up these really strong provinces first. So we're going to do that. Okay. Now see here, we can't move it until 1502. So that means, it's not going to be moved for quite a while. That'll give us enough time to build up all these provinces. Now, one of the advantages of staying in Empire, which I've decided we're going to do for various reasons, thank you guys for the feedback and helping me decide what we need to do. Logically, it seems like we should stay in Empire, and I do like Republics, but I can definitely see the advantages of Empire over Republic at this point in the game. We can always change to a Republic later, and it's not always easy to change back to Empire or another version of monarchy. There are much better government types than we have now, and I believe like most of them are just more centralized and just plain better than what we have now. So now we're never going to be going back to feudal monarchy, but because Empire is just plain better than that. Anyway, so our main advantage we have now is that Empire gets a lot of magistrates, and the next step of monarchy, administrative monarchy, also gives a lot of magistrates. So that's a very good thing to have happening with us right there. So what that means is we can do a lot of national decisions over here. Now, it being in the same province as my capital, and I should have done this a lot earlier, but I was just going for the convenience factor of switching back and forth, was the fact that, and also I was a feudal monarchy, so I didn't have so many magistrates. Although when I started building up magistrates and I was spending them on paintings and stuff, I should have known that I should have been changing it. We have a lot of options here in like the Glorious Monument, expand the bureaucracy, which is an extremely good one. It does lower our tax modifier and increase our revolt risk, but it gives us a lot of magistrates. So if we wanted to build up the empire more through the provincial decisions, that's the kind of thing that we will want. And there's a lesser version of that called Build a Post Office, which we've already been doing. It gives us a much smaller bonus. But it would be the same after we've built it in, 25 provinces. And it doesn't have a penalty, aside from losing the money. And both of these are more or less permanent. Again, we can do the censuses to grow our provinces better. These will be extremely good for some of our low pop provinces in the Arabian Peninsula. Now, sometime in this, based on growth rate of our population, Bedouin Arabic should become one of our accepted what's it called accepted cultures. So we will lose the penalty for having them be um, a different culture than our main culture. Now that doesn't stop our conversion events or our ability to do a, a forced culture conversion, a settlement policy. So that lessens the impact that a settlement policy would have from a provincial decision perspective. It also cripples our colonists and magistrates. So we want to do as few of those as possible. Although later on, we might want to do that for purely I don't know. Like if we did it in France to Normandy, um, the French lost they lost this for 50 years. They would never be able to get it back. They wouldn't be able to get a free core on it back like they do. They can never lose a core that's part of their culture, which yeah, Normand is part of their culture, the French culture. So that would be a reason to do that. One thing that I really am going to work up to, and I'm going to save all of my magistrates for, is the formalized weights, scales, and measures. Scales, weights, and measures. It costs 5 magistrates, but if you look at this, it has some pretty major bonuses to us. A 10% efficiency to both production and trade, and a flat 5% national tax modifier. And this is permanent for the rest of the game. In addition to that, it also reduces our revolt risk by half a point, which is excellent, across the entire country. And this is one of the things you can do if... I think you have to have it in your capital to do this one. And there's also some of the things you can do, like establishing a grain depot, which is kind of the same thing. Only we don't want to do it in Alexandria because, as you can see here, well, it doesn't really have to be... It doesn't have a requirement for like the some of the others. These other ones require a certain amount of taxes to do. Like this, provincial festivals requires a tax of at least 7. Well, this grain depot doesn't. It only requires you to have grain produced in the province, and then you can do this, and you'll lose the 50% trade income. But if we did it in like, let's find a crappy province that produces grain. Well, this one's pretty. This one's not that great. So yeah, we could do it here, and then I think we can do it. Yeah, because it has to be affected by the national focus, which is all the provinces surrounding it. Yeah, and then we'll get a national manpower and national force limits modifier by 5 and 10%. And then it just lowers the local trade income on this. So that's another use for 5 magistrates. That's extremely good. And, you know, some of these other provinces that produce grain don't really have anything else to do. Like, Cairo and Alexandria are too good to do that in. But Asyut here is not. Another thing that we might potentially want to do that would have a major impact on our empire is move our capital to a tropical province. Now, what that will do is it will remove the penalty for taxes from tropical. I don't think it'll replace remove the penalty for colonizing because it's a different type of tropical. I don't know. Maybe it does. But the best province I can think of for moving our capital to that would probably be Nile. It's a good province, but it's also tropical. So there's that. And there are some others in here that you could do, like this one, or I think Neeswise too. Yeah. So that is also another option. Most of these are not tropical. I misspoke earlier when I said that most of them were. Most of them are not in this part of the world. It's Africa that most of them are tropical. Now, Alexandria has been our capital since we changed to Egypt, but I think there's enough of a benefit to be pragmatic about it. And I think changing to Nile eventually, it costs 1,000 gold, um, uh, and you can only do it a certain number of times. You can only do it like it takes more time to do it later, and it also reduces your stability by 4. Which is, it's like changing to a different type of government. Although some governments take less stability to change to. So anyway, there's that option. So we don't have any magistrates now, so we really can't take advantage of this at the moment. Another thing we need to do is we need to figure out what we want to do with this stuff. And figure out a better option to use for our merchants, because we've got a solid building here, but sometimes the merchants, the centers of trade will change, and this is probably firmly in the eyes of France, in the sights of France. So Liguria is probably not going to be a permanent thing for us. So there's Venice, obviously, but Venice is kind of hard for us to compete in for various reasons. Thrace isn't one. Sometimes it is, but they either haven't gotten around to doing it, and I think they trade through us. So it would actually be less good for us if they made it a center of trade. Now we can't use all of the centers of trade. Like we can't use France's because they're blockading us. And Antwerpen isn't worth very much, even though most of our stuff is trading through that. See, it's trading through. Actually, no, this trades through Ile-de-France. Oh no, these trades through Lubeck. It's these. Yeah, these trade through Lubeck, and these trade through. Yeah. England can also get one. They haven't done it yet. There's a decision they can make to do it. Another thing that is interesting you can look at is the production of various things on this. I don't know if I pointed that out earlier, but Lubeck is obviously the most valuable one in the world. I think it is. But we've also got people in Novgorod. We did have people in Novgorod at one point, but and Novgorod is still valuable. But right now we just got people in Lubeck and Liguria. Liguria is not actually very valuable anymore, so we might want to change our Liguria people to somewhere else. We can also create one of our own if we leave the trade league, which I'm not going to do. If our trade league partner gets killed, which is very unlikely because it's Lubeck here, Lüneburg. Most people don't want to attack Lüneburg. I don't know. I very rarely see Lubeck fall in a game, unless the Holy Roman Emperor gets really nasty. Okay, so those are our kind of options. Right now, I'm gonna stay as Empire for various reasons, but the main one of them being that it would be too hard for us to switch out later. And some people were wanting me to do governments that I can't do yet, but I can do later. So looking at our colonies, moving on to the Monera, looking at our colonies, we have Martuis here, which I'm going to let grow on its own, and I'm not going to kill the natives because they will join the colony when it's done. They have 0 aggressiveness, so I have no problem leaving them there like that. Which means they will not attack the colony, ever. Basically, I can just leave them here, and then when it hits 1,000, it'll be 1,000, 1,500. It'll be 1,500, rather. So, yeah. And then I'm going to colonize this, probably after I finish, this province over here. And this one is going to be quite a while. But, this is going to be the main thing we're going to focus on. I might spend one on that one, just so it's sooner, so it grows on its own. and then start focusing on this one because it's going to grow pretty good on its own. If I had more narrow-mindedness, it would grow faster, but I don't really care at this point. Only Portugal is in the race for the quest for the New World. Although eventually, I think Andalusia and England will join. So, and possibly Morocco and the Papal States. Although Morocco is really far behind in their tech. So, yeah, that's something to keep an eye on. I've never seen the Pope do it though. But then again, they've never been this close to the edge of the map in one of my games. And also, Fez might do it. I think maybe Connacht might, but more likely than that, England will take them over. That's probably what's going to happen. And of course, France can join, but France is doing military stuff right now. Yikes. So, from the perspective of colonizing, I really need to make sure that I've got everything in hand before I really start doing anything else. Another thing is that people are worried about me focusing on the Americas. Well, I'm not going to focus on the Americas because I can't. This is the closest. This is the only province I can get to without moving my capital to Brittany. I can't get any closer. And in fact, when I move my capital to Nile, if I do so, then it will become even harder for me to do that because I don't believe any of these are tropical. So there's no reason to move it over here. This one is actually. So if I moved it here, yeah, I could do that. What this does do is make me closer to India and Australia, but I still don't think I'm close enough to get to Australia. So yeah, the overland thing is based on, like, if you notice, the distance on this one is based from Finistry, which is this one. So it doesn't matter if it's like that. So I guess what I just said was wrong. Anyway, what it does do is make it less valuable. Like, these provinces are less valuable in my hands because of the distant overseas penalty. But if I moved it to Gafsa, is Gafsa any good? Gafsa is actually about the same as Nile is. And the key word in the distant overseas trade is overseas. Because I don't have a land connection to that. If I did have it in Gafsa here, in provinces down here, while being further away from this than, that is from Alexandria, then it still counts because I have a land bridge to it. Now, actually, these ones don't count as being distant overseas. Although I do need to make some naval patrols to them because of the where I am. Now, I can just basically ignore America for a while. I can't get to Takamuk for a while, and I think the closest one, aside from that, is this, which I don't think I can get to until, like, I think it's 300, based on, yeah, I think this is 300. Do I have a... No, I don't have a conquistador or anything over here, so I can't actually go check. Well, I could, like, just sail over here and hope I discover it, but, I don't think so. And we're still going to be trying to get on France's good side. And also England. England is a big potential partner for us. Now, if France stops being a jerk to us, I might even ally with them. Although, if they are, I'll probably try to ally with England to prevent them from being belligerent towards us. It won't prevent them, it'll discourage them from doing it. Okay, and what was I going to... Sometimes it'll let you do it, sometimes it won't. I don't know why. Clicking on the minimap doesn't always work. Right, this. And... okay. So there's my conquistadors. I think I should have 4. So what are these guys lacking? These guys need a cavalry. So I'll just build a cavalry. Because those guys are pretty lacking in cavalry too. Another thing that's going to happen is that when we get to Production Tech 9, we'll be able to build workshops, which are very valuable. They increase your tax modifier by 5. So I'll be doing that. I'll be doing it in my good provinces first, and then I'll start branching out to all the provinces, because there's no reason to have them in any other provinces. Although there is a investment over time thing. If we do it this early in the game, it'll pay off. So. Also, yeah, this is another thing. I am very behind in naval tech. So, one of the things I want to do is, instead of this compete chance guy, I want to get a naval guy. A naval reformer. Okay, level 2-1. Let's go. And replace him with that. So that'll make our naval tech go up faster. As always with investments like that, the earlier you do it, the better chances you have for doing it, of getting a bonus from it. And France is being France. So pretty much just, yeah, we got a royal marriage with them, so we're kind of secure. But if they start breaking our ties and stuff, then that'll tell us that our time is up, so to speak. So, actually, I think this one would be all right. Well, do I need this? I probably only need 1 Carrack in this group. So you can go to here. That way I can set up a patrol to patrol my islands. Yeah, okay, and the best thing to do with this over time is to colonize this. That way we can get it growing more quickly. One of the things what I want to do with this explorer is I want to loop around Africa and yeah, make sure I can get to Cape Verde. I probably will be able to get all the way around since I've discovered a lot of this. Moving inland on inland waters, or waters that are touching the continents, is usually faster. Like, you saw me, like, die because I moved across the Indian Ocean. Well, that's because I was moving across the Indian Ocean. And it's extremely, bad to do that. It damages your ships a lot. But once you get to, like, the Americas, moving down along the American coast is very easy. It doesn't cost a lot of, ship points. Their hit points or whatever. So we're gonna patrol to here. Yeah. And keep going. See, sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. So we got another cardinal there. we'll just keep upping it with England. England is actually cheaper than France, so we'll just hope France gets the idea of... Oh crap, forgot that. Another thing I realized I was doing was that I was increasing this without without leaving the screen. So, and that's what makes that go away. Except that, yeah, okay, that's fine. My inflation is actually good now. Most people have an average of like 5. I was checking around to see if I had screwed anything else up in the conversion. I want to have all the conversion kinks figured out before we get to 1500 at least. So we can have as much of a normal game as possible. They have to be in the same group to move on to them. Okay. And I don't think the Conquistador will actually be doing anything. It's just, you know, he's there. Okay. And the Pope has excommunicated Sicily. I think we dropped that. Yeah, we dropped that. I still have this mission to attack Polotsk. But I do have a Casus Belli. They're guaranteed by Byzantium, though, which is pretty bad. It's not bad, but it'll make things hard for us. Because a lot of times the AI will just ignore the modifiers. Which, you know, it's like, why would you bother doing that stuff with France then? Well, it's because it's the only thing I can do. Aside from building a shit ton of guys, which I can't afford. Alright, I think I can set my money back to normal. Yeah, and I don't necessarily care about losing, and I have a magistrate, but like I said, I'm gonna wait for the units and measure and stuff to. Are you losing any? He's not stopping at the port. He needs to stop at the port each time. Or else he'll slowly destroy himself. There you go here. So, yeah, I'll keep him... He'll stay there until he heals up, by the way, and then I'll move him back over there. Ah. Yes, I know I can just push the space bar. I don't know, I'm just a mouse controlling guy. I like controlling things in the mouse. We've discovered a thing. Coast of Natal. How are our ships? Okay, that's a country. It's a province, a land province. One more month. Yeah, and I don't know, exploring gives me something to do when there's nothing really going on, so I don't see any reason not to do it. As you can see, we're taking less damage from doing stuff like this. This is the attrition damage you take from being at sea. Okay. And this is the end of Africa. With both explorers on your ships, with the explorers on your ships, you have a chance of discovering the guys on the... Alright, you start patrolling. And we'll come back and check on that and see if it's taking damage. We can probably get to Cape Verde. It might be cutting it a bit close, though. Maybe. Okay, Cape of Good Hope. We still haven't taken any damage, that's good. Another thing we're going to have to start worrying about is pirates. Pirates will appear once we get past a certain tech, and that means we'll need to solidify our navy controls, or patrols. I mean. All right, see here. This is what this is the attrition rate here. Now our leader doesn't have any maneuver statistics, so there's no bonus to that. So we're basically just taking how long they've been at sea plus the base value of the province. And we've discovered this country, which is far too far out of our range to do, as we can see here. Not that we have any colonists to send. Oh, speaking of that, not really speaking of colonists, but speaking of that sort of thing, in 1500, or around 1500, the Protestant Reformation will happen. It will happen, and depending on where it starts, this could have a huge effect on us. It could start in us, in our land, or it could start in Sicily or France or Sweden, for all I know. It's random. So yeah, it could have a major effect on us, and we'll have a decision then whether that we want to fight the Reformation or go along with it. Now, it does have its bonuses. Being a Protestant nation has some pretty significant bonuses.